Legends, welcome to Here's Your Otter's Reviews. Masters of the Universe Revelation is on the way very, very soon. I'm stupidly excited to see it, not just for the reason that it's been, the show has been run by Kevin Smith. I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan and resonate a lot with the sort of stuff and he gets up to and his style of humour and filmmaking and storytelling. And I know one of the writers that's on the project with him, Mark Bernardin. I'm quite fond of his work as well, but not just for that reason. I am a huge, huge fan of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I watched it religiously as a child. When it first came out, it was just, I was the target audience for that show. Much like the Transformers, ran home from school in the afternoons to check it out. So we have been going through the series on the channel. It has been a few months since it did any episodes on it, but we're going to get into it in this one with the royal cousin as this episode. Prince Adam takes charge of his royal cousin Jeremy at his father's behest, but Jeremy doesn't care for being babysat and causes a whole host of trouble and almost getting himself killed. And when he doesn't learn from his lesson, his selfish machinations leave Castle Greyskull at Skeletor's mercy. Now, that is just the synopsis on the back of the box, but it's not so much Skeletor that's the huge threat in this episode. It is Triclops and Evelyn in this episode. At the beginning, there is a confrontation between the two of them and He-Man when he confiscates a globe from them and takes it, hides it in Castle Greyskull. And we kind of leave that part for the majority of the episode, and like whenever the globe came back into the story, I'd actually forgotten about it. That's the thing about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. For a show that's only about 25 minutes long, they pack a heck of a lot into each episode. So Skeletor goes crazy with Evelyn and Triclops, and he sends them back out to get the globe back, and that's the last you see of Skeletor throughout the entire episode. But the globe does come into action later on as well. This cousin is a mischievous, arrogant little menace, and he just listens to no one, wants to do his own thing, and if he doesn't get his own way, he pretty much just stamps his feet like a spoiled child. And much like a lot of people I know in their 30s at the moment, some people never grow up, but Evelyn has the power to change her form, and they discover that Man-at-Arms and He-Man are testing a rock softening device. Man-at-Arms is an inventor, and he comes up with this thing that can melt rocks essentially down into like a soil form. So it's a bit like they're Minecrafting the bit out in this episode. They're trying to turn rock into soil for farming, and while they're testing this machine, Evelyn and Triclops are spying in the background, and they see the benefit this machine's going to have for them. If they steal this thing, they can use it in the walls of Castle Greyskull, soften them down. Essentially, who controls Castle Greyskull controls the entire planet, basically. And the last thing they want is for the forces of evil to get into Castle Greyskull. So she uses her power of transformation to transform into an old woman, and you see that character a lot throughout the series, and she tricks this royal cousin into helping them steal the the Rock softening device and telling him that she's an old friend of Man-at-Arms and she wants to play a trick on him, and playing into his mischievous mannerisms, and he does. He helps him, and they set off to attack Castle Greyskull. We discover what's going on, and He-Man, Man-at-Arms go to confront them at Castle Greyskull. But while the fight's happening there, Triclops senses that the globe is inside Castle Greyskull. Now, we don't know what this globe does up to this point, but it turns out this thing, when it's activated, just starts to grow and grow and grow. So they're like, we're going to kill one bird with two stones, basically. Here we've got this rock softening device to soften the walls of Castle Greyskull, with this thing inside it that can grow huge and break out from the inside. So when the confrontation is happening, the rock softening device actually gets turned on He-Man, and it's more or less killing him. And Man-at-Arms has been incapacitated by some of Evelyn's magic, and this is when the royal cousin turns up. He's feeling guilty. He wants to try and make up for everything that he's done wrong in the episode. And I should have said that when Evelyn originally tricked the cousin into helping him, he was at a street market, and he was trying to get his hands on like a boomerang, a magnetic boomerang. You can throw the boomerang and it lifts off in metal and bring it back to you. That comes into play at the end of the episode. So Evelyn's character, transformed into the old woman, actually buys this as a bribe for the kid. So it's a bit poetic at the end of the episode whenever the kid turns up and uses this boomerang to take the rock softening device out of their hands and return it to Duncan, and he reverses the polarity of it and sets everything right as far as the walls of Castle Greyskull goes. But inside the sorceress, she is in trouble. This massive globe thing is just growing bigger and bigger. Her magic can't stop it. So He-Man, being the strongest man in the universe, it usually comes down to his strength whenever it comes to taking care of stuff, I guess. So she calls him in, and he manages to squash the globe back down just using his power, grabs hold of it and starts squeezing, and punts it out into space. It's a great little episode. I really did enjoy this one. As I say, there's a heck of a lot in each of these episodes, and I'm trying to, not give too much away as far as the smaller details of the thing goes. But it's all about relationships in this episode, and by the end of it, the kid has learned a lesson that, people could have get killed because of the decisions I made. Just basically been a little troublemaker. I could have got my family and friends killed with these head cases that are following Skeletor. So in that final confrontation, Skeletor doesn't show his face, and he knows nothing what's going on here. Like Evelyn and Triclops are going to try and break into Castle Greyskull and take the power from the cells. So, the bad guys in this series, nobody is 100% loyal to each other as far as the villains go in this series. Any of them could turn on Skeletor at any point, and that's wonderful. So at the end of the episode, there's a little piece, and what I really do enjoy most about this show is there is a moral to the story, but if you don't get it, some of the characters that are actually in the show will actually, when the episode's done and dusted, they'll pop up on screen. In today's episode, the royal cousin was a little get, and he had to learn a bit of manners, basically. And it's all about, Orko and He-Man do it in this episode. And it's like, he was all he wanted was attention, and he thought the best way to get attention was to play up and make trouble. But if you really want people to respect you and be friends with you, all you have to do is be kind and do good things and whatnot, and that's great. That's it builds morals. It really did build morals in the kids in the early 80s. That's something, and I'm pretty sure I've said this in pretty much every review of He-Man up to this point. I think it's something that's sorely lacking in today's entertainment as far as I've seen. There's not much in the way of building some good morals, and it'll be pretty interesting to see if Revelation does anything like that there, because those endings to these episodes were a staple of the show. But from what I know about Revelation up to this point is it's a continuation from this series, but like the kids that watched the original series that are now all grown up, Masters of the Universe Revelation is also a grown up show. So the way the original one, I was a target audience, it should be, hitting me right in the tip of the chin with Revelation. But it would be kind of, even if it is a more adult based show, it would be very cool for at the end of the series, not at the end of every episode. I know Revelation is going to have the one running storyline throughout 8 episodes, but it would be very funny and a good callback if they were to do something like the public service announcement at the end of it, just for the fun of it. I don't know. It is Kevin Smith after all. You kind of know what you're going to get with him, but he does tend to still surprise you from time to time. Right, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and you're on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, get subscribed. If you're listening to it in the podcast, you're absolute legends, and I will talk to you in the next episode.